Well, the YouTube True Crime and Terrible site. I wanted to go over this due to the fact that I was asked to do a story on an Australian journalist. And I was saying this in another video. The only thing that keeps coming up on the, sorry, and I got the date wrong. I guess it was in 2009. She disappeared. And, no. What the hell was it? 1995 or 94. And I said 2005. I don't know why I got that number stuck in my head. But she disappeared in 95. And the only thing I keep getting up on that was the guy who they claim was acquitted, but yet he was seen at a bar harassing that journalist. And I want to say it happened in Manhattan. I don't know if there's an Australian Manhattan, but I don't know, but they say she was found dead in her apartment. And I want to say that was in Australia, if I can remember correctly. I did look it up again, but I forgot. It doesn't really say, where this person lived. It says she was in Manhattan and she was found murdered in her apartment. And I think it was in Australia. So when I was looking up that story, I came across this one. Now, noting something to keep your mind on, that the 1995 journalist was, was doing a lot of, trying to break the story, let's call it. So, honestly, I can say, I'm not saying that the guy is innocent, that they found covered in blood and was harassing her, and supposedly they got into some argument or something. But just make note that sometimes, just like this one I just stumbled upon, and this happened in 1937, and she was an activist. And I'm going to say it was something close to what the other girl did from 1995, but when you get into journalists and want to be a journalism, you're really getting into some hard-cutting stories. And I want to say maybe, and I'm not saying this is it, my thoughts, theories, the 1995 woman, I want to say if she was, into, wanting to crack that case, which I remember that being said, only one can say that she might have been set up for murder. Now, of course, the 1995 killing, the guy said he bit his tongue because he had a fit. Now, whether it was a seizure fit, or who knows, maybe a mental fit. All he said is they had a fit. And them are the only two things that I can say that would make sense. Mental fit, seizure fit. Because them two things, you do go into one bit of rage or a seizure, you start flopping all over the floor like a fish, right? And if he did have proof that he bit his tongue, which I'm sure he did, and mind you, I said this before, I know someone that, I won't say who, but someone that had recently bit their tongue and did lose a good amount of blood. But did not really have much blood, mind you, than you would expect. Nothing to cover a shirt. And this recently happened. This happened like sometime, I want to say last year, almost the beginning of this year. So with that being said, and this guy was friggin' plastered with blood. You know, only one can sit there and, you know, I'm kind of glad stuff happens. I mean, sorry for that person that bit their tongue. But for that to happen, and that person did get stitches. And he didn't have as much blood as you would think, right? And he is an older gentleman. And you would think, and he's on blood thinners at that. You would think this person, well, I bet my tongue because I had a fit. He must have damn nearly chopped his tongue in half. Or split it like they do when they cut it. When people get piercings in their tongue and they cut their tongue, look like a friggin' lizard, right? Type thing. So I don't know how much blood you lose out of that, but I have seen that kind of stuff, of course. I believe it's like Ripley's Believe It or Not. But, you know, stupid things people do. So for that guy to say, oh, I bit my tongue on a fit. Yeah, what kind of fit? Bit of rage fit? Mental fit to the bit of rage? Seizure? Didn't even say. Of course, right? That's from the 95 case. This one, if you've been reading it, the people have never been identified. And yeah, she has never been found either. Now, due to the fact of these two women being Australian, urban development. So they were activism against urban development around King's Cross, Sydney, Australia. Yeah, builders, laborers, federations, green bands. And she disappeared. So I'm about want to say, and the other girl in 95 was on to something. You know, who knows what this, I never looked into this King's Cross yet, but when I was trying to look up the 95 girl, this came up. So whether or not Australian women put down the heavy hammer on things, which hey, ain't a bad thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to crack or save something, or environmental wise, or, you know, crack down the hammer on people that are very bad and get them off the streets. But yeah, these two poor women lost their lives because they wanted to be journalists. It's no different than the Foley guy that went out to the Middle East. They released him. He went back. Got caught again. I mean, don't get me wrong. He wanted to cover the breaking news out there, but when you start hammering around in bad situations, them journalists, man, it's like me. I could say something wrong, too, because of all the controversy I see. And I'm all over that Fort Devon stuff because William Tyree, I mean, I remember watching that TV show, Murder at Fort Devens. And there was a part in the building on the film that I remember. I'm not going to say what because I want to get my hands on this movie. And I haven't been able to do that yet, but I'm still searching. And the only reason why I'm looking for this certain part of the building is because, mind you, when I was a kid, I lived in Air, Mass, and I lived in that town, and I used to walk them streets when that happened. Also, I believe that the Kenny Waters case was another thing that was controversy to get people to stop thinking about the other case. Like I said, I don't want to say too much because I know things. Can't say too much. But the only reason why I mention that building, because that building, mind you, I went in it. The only reason why I went in it is because I knew a kid that lived in it. And I used to go over his house and play Atari. You think one of the things I used to do when I was younger, when the Atari came out and I didn't have an Atari, and I seen all these kids getting an Atari, they became my friends. I'd get on the bus, go over their house. My mother would be like, "What the hell is that there?" Trying to find me, and I'm over here. Got to the point the bus driver was starting to get papers on me. The name, who's not supposed to be on the bus. And he caught me. He was like, "Who are you?" "Samachi." He said, "Get off my bus. You can't come on my bus. You're not going over no people's houses." One of my stories I used to do back in the day. Oh, man. I was a little trooper. And I am surprised I didn't get snatched up and kidnapped, because I almost did, but I had the street smarts to get me out of that problem. Unlike these women, I'm going to look more into this. 2 men associated with the King Cross crime boss, Abe, suffering with jail for conspiracy to kidnap her based on the incident to her disappearance. But still, this is like, if you're a good journalist, and I'm sure these 2 women were, you end up like Hoffa, king of the Teamsters. He's gonna lay that hammer down too. Then all of a sudden, boom, where do you think he went? My thoughts and theories, ideas on that, that man is in a dump, or was on a barge in the Jersey, New York shore. And I think that's where he was placed and put to never be found, because when the barge got picked up and went off to the landfill, he was buried. A lot of people, man, used to make it to the dump. Hell, there could be a chance that the story I'm working on, one of my first missing person cases, Taj Narbonne, he could be down here, down the street where I live in the Leominster landfill. Because mind you, he disappeared March 31st, 1981. And by 1982, where now sits the Cumberland Farm on in Fidelity Bank off the Leominster connector. That's the old Leominster dump that shut down in 1982. Covered that in a video. But like I say, these journalists, man, when they get on to something, I could just imagine if that guy was paid money, maybe, to do something or harass that woman. Or he could have just been, he could have been wanting something from her. But, she denied him. And then later on, someone could have been following her and told the guy, "Hey, here's some cash. Do something with her." But who knows? All I know is that guy is still out of jail, I believe, and Still not found. But there's a lot of things, though, you got to look at, too, right? When you become a journalist, there's a lot more out there wanting you dead because they don't want the truth in the story. They want you to leave it alone. And that's why there was a word made called conspiracy. That's right, folks. Hell, maybe even the Mandela effect was made to throw people off. So you would think, oh, I remember that, but that didn't happen. And they're probably brainwashing people. That didn't happen. The Mandela effect. Oh, okay. But all in all, there's a lot behind this story. And I think between these two journalists, yeah, something was really going on that they might have found out is right. And they wanted them off the map. So with that being said, I'll put the other journalist's name up in the description if I can remember to. But I thought I'd throw this one in there too, because two Australian women, two journalists, both missing, never found. How many more? It's crazy out there, folks. Be safe, beware, take care, and always watch your back if you're wanting to become that journalist. Always. Out.